Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. This is Kai, my little boy. I think I'm finally getting my voice back, which is awesome. But, I've been sick for a while. So anyways, today we are going to be doing a makeup and mystery. And this is kind of going to be a different one. Because I want to spread awareness on these 3 cases. Because I'm going to talk more. Like, the title is going to be for one case, because I think it's kind of, like, very less known, and then I want to talk about the other cases also, and the one is very well known. I'm sure you've read the title, and I'm sure you know, we are going to be talking about circus animals, and how they are treated in captivity. I watched Tyke the Elephant Outlaw yesterday, and it inspired me to make this video, because if you do not know me, then you wouldn't know this, but my favorite documentary ever is called Blackfish, and it is actually about a orca whale who was held in captivity that killed its owner. So it's honestly quite common for captive animals to kill their trainers. So Tyke was an elephant, obviously, and this takes place in Honolulu. You can actually Google Tyke the elephant on YouTube and watch a bunch of videos. A lot of people have homemade videos on Tyke the elephant when Tyke went crazy in the circus and got shot and stuff like that. Like, you can still actually go back and watch it. But anyways, so when I was watching Tyke the Elephant Outlaw, they were talking about how Tyke was actually pretty well known to be very defiant, and there were multiple trainers that said that she shouldn't be working in the circus, but no one listened. And that is what I find amazing, is that no one listened, but they had multiple people saying that she shouldn't be in the circus, that something bad is going to happen, that she's just too defiant. So this honestly could have been prevented by somebody listening and just doing something. So they said that on this day, the assistant trainer for Tyke was actually getting her ready for the show, and I don't know what happened, but something had happened with this trainer that scared Tyke so bad that Tyke ended up, like, rolling him. The assistant trainer, I believe, survived the attack. You can actually see the video. It's very, very graphic, because you're watching an elephant roll a human body who's, like, now dead. Because there are 2 bodies in this video, one died and the other was seriously injured. And it's really crazy when you see the video, and you can actually see interviews with people who are talking about it and how they are saying, like, it's just really crazy. There's videos also of Tyke running down the streets of Honolulu. They tried to corner Tyke in a parking lot, which, of course, that wasn't going to work. But she barreled through the gates, and eventually the police of Honolulu made the decision that Tyke was just too dangerous and too out of control and decided to shoot her. And elephants are giant, I'm sure we all know this, and it took something like, I think, 86 shots, and it took Tyke 2 hours to die. And of course, this is like a lot of animal activists. I'm kind of on the side of both, where I'm kind of like, I think that they should have gotten a tranquilizer, but at the same time, they must not have had a tranquilizer, or it just wasn't in their thought process. I think that they made the best call that they thought at the time. So, like, you can't, like, hinder the police for this, because they made what they thought was the best decision, because they didn't want Tyke to kill anybody else. They already had one person dead, one person seriously injured, and other people terrified out their freaking minds. So that is how Tyke the elephant story ends. And now let's talk about the case that I was talking about a little bit earlier in the documentary that I love, called Blackfish. This is the very famous case that I'm sure a lot of you guys heard about, and it is about Tilikum, the orca whale. And this story takes place, it has a happier ending, I think, but this story takes place in SeaWorld instead of the circus. But the orcas were still performing animals. This is another case where Tilikum had multiple signs that he was going to attack again in captivity, but in, I think it was 2010, Tilikum, during a show, killed his trainer, Don Brand Show, which is really what the documentary centers around, is how it could have been prevented because he had attacked 2 other people and killed them. And I believe that this is something that could have been prevented, just like with Tyke, could have been prevented if people had listened. But Tilikum there was money to be made in performing animals, and Tilikum was like the biggest male whale in captivity. I really suggest checking out Tyke, the Elephant Outlaw, or the documentary Blackfish. They're both extremely good. And a lot of circuses actually are going out of business. I don't think that there's really any more left, since a lot of stuff happened with Tyke and stuff like that. And not to mention, SeaWorld doesn't have the orca, like they don't do the performances with the orcas anymore, and they publicly stated that they're not going to go capture more orcas. So this next case is the last case, and it is one that I didn't know about until I was watching the show How It Really Happened, which I actually really like How It Really Happened with Hill Harper. It's on HLN, I think is what it is, and this is the case of Seigfried and Roy. So I actually didn't know this case until the How It Really Happened. Seigfried and Roy were, obviously they had performing animals. They had a show in Las Vegas and they performed with tigers. And a lot of people say that their show was like really magical. And what was amazing is that Seigfried and Roy actually lived with their tigers. Like, they have multiple interviews of themselves like in their home with their tigers. Like, their tigers are like pets, and I think that that's really what intrigued people. Like, the animals weren't held in captivity, but like they are. This is not what they're meant to be, where they're meant to be and what they're meant to do. And during a show, their most famous tiger, I don't know its name, but it has a name, that they have done so many shows with and had so many interviews with and talking about, went crazy and attacked Roy, I think, and basically maimed him in front of the crowd like the other 2 cases. And I mean, this one didn't end with a death of a person like the other 2 cases did, but he was seriously injured. I mean, I think he performed one more time for a reunion concert thing, and that was it. He actually passed away from COVID a couple years ago. And I mean, Tilikum wasn't killed either. Tilikum died naturally a few years ago. I mean, I think that the biggest thing to point out is that, like, to get money, they say, like, these animals aren't held in captivity. They enjoy what they're doing. They love it. They are healthier with us than they would be in the wild. They're our pets. They're our friends. We love them. No, they don't. These are wild animals. These are wild animals. They're not meant to be performers. They're not meant to be pets. And I think that's the biggest thing, is please do not take a wild animal and make it a pet. It's not in their nature, and, you know, don't make them perform. It's not in their nature, and, I mean, it's kind of cruel. I mean, Nancy Drew actually said it best herself. Would you like to be stuck in a bathtub performing for 30 years? Would you not go a little psycho crazy? Now, the tiger in the Seigfried and Roy story is alive. It didn't die either. It actually ended up living out the rest of its days with Seigfried and Roy in its home. And it's so sad, because we shouldn't be capturing these animals. Like, Of course this was bound to happen. Like, it's just in their nature to be wild. Like, we can't predict anything. Otherwise, I wanted to shed some light on performing animals and animals in captivity. I think that it's very intriguing, and that's why I wanted to shed some light on the situation. But anyways, as he's saying, I guess I'm gonna end this video here instead of talking a little bit more like I planned. See you guys in tomorrow's video then. Kai, take it away. You wanna say bye-bye? No? Okay. Bye guys. I'll see you in tomorrow's video.